Good evening and welcome. I am Uyai and I can come to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. This is Spotlight Africa, brought to you by Spectrum Television and Planet Radio. Today on Spotlight Africa, Gabon coup leaders named General Brice Nguema as new leader. Rwanda retires 12 generals. Cameroon reshuffles defense ministry after Gabon coup. United Nations seeks ECOWAS exemption for relief supplies. Senegal opposition head still ineligible for polls, says minister. Plus, 73 dead in blaze at city center building. The stories are all just ahead on Spotlight Africa. Do stay with us. Thanks for joining us. To begin Spotlight Africa, the military officers have said that Gabonese President Ali Bongo is being detained at home and one of his sons has been arrested for treason. The coup leaders, made this known hours after announcing they had overthrown the Gabon government. The military officers said in a statement that President Ali Bongo is surrounded by his family and doctors. The statement also noted that the president's close advisor, Noureddine Valentin, Chief of Staff Ayala Ngolo, as well as his deputy and two other presidential advisors in the ruling Gabonese Democratic Party, have been arrested. Reports say they are accused of treason, embezzlement, corruption, and falsifying the president's signature, among other allegations. In a related development, the Commonwealth has voiced fears about a military coup in Gabon, which joined the grouping last year, and said it was monitoring the situation closely. Secretary General Patricia Scotland said the situation was deeply concerning, adding that the Commonwealth Charter is clear that member states must uphold the rule of law and the principles of democracy at all times. This comes hours after a group of Gabonese military officers appeared on television announcing they were putting an end to the current regime and cancelling Ondimba's election. Meanwhile, army officers who seized power in a coup in Gabon on Wednesday have named General Brice Oligui Nguema as the country's transitional leader. General Nguema was earlier carried triumphantly through the streets of the capital, Libreville, by his troops. The deposed President Ali Bongo has appeared in a video at his home, calling on his friends all over the world to make noise on his behalf. The former French colony is one of Africa's major oil producers. Meanwhile, Bongo's overthrow ended his family's 55-year hold on power in the Central African state. Army officers appeared on TV in the early hours of Wednesday to say they had taken power. They say they had annulled the results of Saturday's elections, in which Bongo was declared the winner, but which the opposition said was fraudulent. The officers also said they had arrested one of Bongo's sons for treason. Moving away from coup-related conversations, the head of African Union Commission, Moussa Faki Mahamat, said today he strongly condemns what he described as an attempted coup in Gabon. Rebel officers in the oil-rich Central African state announced early on Wednesday that they had seized power following disputed elections in which President Ali Bongo Ondimba had been declared victor. This is just as President Ali Bongo had been placed in retirement. The head of his presidential guard told Le Monde about the retirement after rebel officers said they had toppled him. Nguema denied that he had become the leader of the party. According to the coup leaders, Bongo, 64, whose family has ruled Gabon for over 55 years, was placed under house arrest and one of his sons arrested for treason. In the meantime, Gabon has been the top trend worldwide on Twitter, now known as X, with an overwhelmingly positive reaction. This is unlike other recent coups in Africa, which have had a much more mixed or negative response. TikTok has also seen people expressing their hope that the coup will save the oil-rich nation from the nearly 6 decades of the Bongo family in power. Different reactions for different coups all around Africa at this time. Still on stories related to the coup, the leader of a Gabonese opposition party has told newsmen he is delighted that the military has removed President Ali Bongo, whose family ruled Gabon for more than 50 years. He said military intervention was the only way of changing the regime. Ali Bongo's father, Omar, began ruling Gabon in 1967 and his son took over power in 2009. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron visited Gabon in March, and protesters in the country's second largest city, Port-Gentil, used the opportunity to demand the departure of French troops stationed in the country. France, which has around 400 soldiers permanently based in the capital, Libreville, as part of a military training operation, has significant economic interest in its former colony, including in the mining and oil sectors. Reports say the Port-Gentil protests were organized by the opposition, Gabonese Patriotic Front, which said the defense accords between the two countries no longer contributed to Gabon's development as the country was not at war. It has now become a familiar scene these days in Africa, a few soldiers on state TV announcing that they have taken over power. This time, a fraudulent election was the excuse. Ali Bongo, the incumbent president, had just hours earlier been declared the winner of a highly criticized poll. International observers and journalists had been barred from covering the election proceedings. In a patronage system where support is effectively bought, it is hard to gauge genuine support. But in Gabon, there is no doubt that having been in power since 1967, many have had enough of the Bongo family dynasty. People were quick to take to the streets, appearing to be genuinely delighted. So far, there's no sign of a pushback. For the international community, including the African Union, this presents a dilemma. France has rushed out with its usual condemnation. Its influence in Africa has waned significantly in recent years, and a call for yet more years of Ali Bongo is likely to go down in Gabon, as well as a hot slap with a wet fish. In another development, the Rwandan Defense Force, RDF, has retired 12 generals and others in a move to reshuffle the military, while Cameroon's President Paul Biya has made changes to the Central African country's Ministry of Defense. Both moves are coming in the wake of Gabon coup, the latest in a series of military takeovers in Africa. A statement by the RDF said President Paul Kagame has retired 83 military personnel, including 12 generals. They include General James Kaberbe, General Fred Ibingra, Lieutenant General Charles Kayonga, Lieutenant General Frank Musho Kamanzi, Major General Martin Nzaramba, Major General Eric Moroke, Major General Augustin Turaga, Major General Charles Karamba, Major General Albert Morisia, Brigadier General Chris Murari, Brigadier General Didace Dahiro, Brigadier General Emmanuel Dahiro. Kagame also approved the promotion and appointment of some officers to replace them. RDF added that the moves take immediate effect. Now, the Rwandan president, who has been in power since 2000, is one of the continent's longest-serving leaders. A 2015 amendment to the country's constitution means he can stay in power until 2034. Anonymous Sudan hacks X to put pressure on Elon Musk